For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
It is well known that Pravin Gordhan was brought in as Minister of Finance after the firing of Dhlamini, and then after the appointment as well of Des van Rooyen, and then the collapse of the currency. How do you interpret the continued speculation over the security of tenure of Gordhan?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because when Gordhan was previously Minister of Finance, he didn't come in a stronger position as he appeared to come in now, because Gordhan has not got a very strong political base like I don't think Nene did have either, but some people have got a lot of support in some province, things like this. I don't think Gordhan has got that. But with the conditions under which he came in, there was a situation of absolute crisis. I remember I was trying to buy some books from the UK, and suddenly the pound became instead of being, say, 17 or 18, became 24, and I had to cancel, you see. So that, you know, if that was happening to me and I was not trading, I mean, people had millions of rands wiped off the value of some of their stocks on the stock exchange, and the rand value collapsing, having implications for everything in the economy. At the moment, we're lucky that the petrol price, for some reason, is quite low, but it is actually hitting a lot of things that are used to feed stock and fertilize, and it affects just about everything. You know, every day you will read milk is going up, or bread is going up, or chicken is going up, or whatever it is. So there was this incredible crisis, and Zuma didn't seem to be very concerned about it. And the big business and some people in the ANC obviously understand that you can't have this climate. We were already, before that happened, we had had a downgrade by the rating agencies. Now, I don't like this thing that rating agencies decide, market sentiments decide what the value, whether there should be investments and all of it. But the world that we're living in, unfortunately, when you are a weak economy like ours, you can't do things that create alarm amongst people who you want to invest. And the rating agencies influence them. And if you go down to junk status, it means that South Africa is a very heavily indebted country. We have to pay more for what we borrow, because people don't want to lend to us because we are a risk. So after a few days, well, not very many days, they managed to persuade Zuma somehow or other to reverse this and to bring back Gordhan. And it's clear that there was something strange about bringing in Van Rooyen, because this so-called BRICS job that Nene is supposed to have, no one knows anything about it, and we're already in March. Secondly, Van Rooyen, like Zwane in the Ministry of Finance, has got some connection he's connected with MKVA, which has got a lot of shady dealings around them, apart from an alleged Gupta connection. He didn't have a very good record. Now, they persuaded Zuma to bring back Gordhan, and it appeared then that Gordhan came back with a lot more power than he'd ever had as Minister of Finance before, because Zuma had been forced to concede, and it was necessary for Gordhan to do things to stabilize the economy, in the budget, in statements, in all of these things, and even to tackle parastatals like the South African Airways and a number of areas where Zuma has interest. And it appeared that Zuma was without power in this regard, and he would have to go along with it. And you had ANC people becoming more brave again to say how important it is to rein in the parastatals and regularize and all of this. But you could see that Zuma was not happy with what had happened. He makes this uncalled for statement that Van Rooyen is the best qualified Minister of Finance we've ever had on the basis of degrees. Now, you also have the situation where there is an unresolved tension between Gordhan as former head of SARS and the present head of SARS, and at one point it appeared that Gordhan felt that he was being undermined, and just before the budget he had actually allegedly said either Moyane, head of SARS, must go or I will resign.
And what exactly is playing out in SARS and the Hawks?
What's happening with SARS and the Hawks? You see, the SARS issue has been going on for a long time. When Gordhan left, after the person who replaced him resigned, Ivan Pillay, who had been in there for a long time, was acting head, but then Tom Moyane was brought in by Zuma. And Tom Moyane appears to have disbanded a unit that was in charge of big business tax evaders. And according to Max Dupree, and I've heard this before, the sort of people who are affected by this are some of the people who donated a lot of money to Zuma personally and to the ANC. So that it is seen that Moyane was put there to take the heat off Zuma. Now, for example, if Zuma has to pay back some money to the public protector, he's also got tax obligations because of fringe benefits. Now, all of these things, it was hoped, I think, that Moyane would take care of this. And the people who were involved in the senior management of SARS were not concerned with looking after Zuma's friends, and they actually did tell Zuma that he was liable for tax for fringe benefits, and they were just carrying on their work as before. And Moyane then suspended them, and there was this commission. There was a number of commissions. There was the Kruin Commission, there was the KPMG Commission, there's the Sekakane Commission into the so-called rogue unit in SARS, which is supposed to have been doing illegal spying and things like this. Now, all the people who were alleged to have been wrongdoers in this, not one of them were interviewed by the commission, any of the commissions. Secondly, information was leaked to the Sunday Times based on a KPMG report, which the Sunday Times said was a final report, but it was in fact a draft. And KPMG doesn't come out very well out of this international firm. And this has been used to make allegations. From what I can understand, there is nothing that these people have done that is alleged to have done that is criminal. And the Hawks come in suddenly, put a whole lot of questions to Gordhan a few days before the budget. 37 questions or something like that. Now, Pierre de Force writes an article saying the Hawks are only allowed to involve themselves when a crime is alleged to have been committed. Now, they have not said what crime they are investigating, so it appears to be illegal. Now, what's very interesting is the man who's the head of the Hawks, according to a court decision, he's a liar, he's unreliable, this and the other, in Klemeza. Klemeza was in the police, in the apartheid era police. It would be very interesting to understand. Dhlamini was also apartheid era policeman. What brings these people into these top positions? Did ANC security make deals with security on this side? Now, I was in the leadership, but I don't know what deals they made. Because how can you have people in such sensitive and top positions when they've been apartheid era cops? So the way I see it is that a number of state institutions are under attack and being used as political, for political battles. In particular, SARS under Moyane, and secondly, the Hawks in this case. NPA as well, but it's a separate matter. But I think that Zuma is just letting it flow, and he may well be involved in it himself. So I think we've got a lot of things that are undoing what was hoped to create stability with bringing back Gordon. And I think all the stuff with the Hawks and SARS being unresolved, till those things are resolved, there is a danger of relegation to junk status.
Thank you, Professor. That was researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about state institutions and their abuse.